My name is Maya Chen. I'm 29 years old, and 13 years ago my mother told me I would never be anyone. She was wrong. But the problem with having a mother like mine is that no matter how successful you become, a part of you still believes her. A part of you is still 16 years old, standing in the doorway of your childhood home with a garbage bag full of clothes, listening to the woman who gave you life say that you're a waste of space. That part of you never fully heals. You just learn to cook around it. I'm a chef. An executive pastry chef, technically, but I hate titles. I've always believed that what you create matters more than what you call yourself, and I've created a lot. 3 restaurants, a cookbook, a name in an industry that chews people up and spits them out daily. My mother doesn't know any of this. That's not an accident. That's survival. Tonight I'm sitting in the passenger seat of my younger brother Ethan's Honda Civic, watching the rain streak across the windshield, trying to remember how to breathe. We're driving to dinner with our mother in Portland, Oregon, the city I fled at 17 and have spent 13 years learning to visit without shaking. Ethan is 26 now. He's a marketing coordinator at a small firm. He's also the only person in my family who still speaks to me, and even that relationship has been strained for years. Not because of anything I did. Because our mother has a gift for turning love into a weapon, and Ethan learned young that the safest place to stand is right next to her, agreeing with whatever she says. I don't blame him for that. I used to. But I've spent enough time in therapy now to understand that we were both children doing what we had to do to survive. Tonight, though, I'm not thinking about survival. I'm thinking about hope, that stupid, stubborn, self-destructive hope that keeps flickering inside me no matter how many times my mother extinguishes it. She said she wants to try, Ethan told me when he called last week. She's been going to therapy. She asked about you. I should have known better. I did know better. But knowing better and doing better are two different things when you're starving for a mother's love you never received. So I said yes. I said yes, and I spent an hour picking out an outfit. I wore my hair down, something I never do, because I remember my mother once said I looked presentable with it down. I put on pearl stud earrings that cost more than her first car, not that she would recognize them. I dress like someone trying to impress a woman who has never been impressed by anything I've ever done. Ethan parks the car. We're outside a restaurant called Rossi's, an upscale Italian place in downtown Portland that I recognize immediately. Of course I recognize it. It's part of a restaurant group I co-own with my mentor, Chef Isabella Rossi. I don't tell Ethan this. I don't tell anyone this. That's another thing about having a mother like mine. You learn to keep your successes quiet, because announcing them feels like an invitation for her to find a way to diminish them. I've won awards she's never heard of. I've been written up in magazines she's never seen. I've built an empire from the ashes of her rejection, and she thinks I'm still a baker. Just a baker, not even a baker. A failed baker. Ready? Ethan asks, his voice too bright, too hopeful. I look at him. He has our mother's eyes, that sharp, calculating brown that can soften when he wants them to. Mine are different. Mine are warmer. I've been told, Kinder. I got those from our grandmother, who died 4 years ago, holding my hand and whispering, "You were always my favorite. Don't let her take that from you." I squeeze Ethan's hand. Ready. We walk inside. The restaurant is beautiful. I knew it would be. Isabella doesn't do anything halfway. The lighting is warm gold, bouncing off white tablecloths and wine glasses. The walls are exposed brick, original to the building, which was a warehouse in the 1920s. I helped pick those bricks. I stood in this space when it was nothing but dust and possibility. And I watched Isabella turn it into something magical. That was 6 years ago. I was 23, still sleeping 4 hours a night, still terrified that someone would discover I was a fraud who had no business being in the same room as real chefs. Now I own half of it. Now I could buy this building twice over without touching my savings. Now I'm walking through the door and my mother is already seated at a center table, and she doesn't look up when we approach. She's 58 years old, Patricia Chen. Divorced, bitter, and meticulously preserved. Her hair is dyed a shade of brown that doesn't exist in nature. Her nails are done. Her outfit costs more than she can afford. She looks like someone who wants you to believe she's thriving, which means she's probably drowning. Maya. She says my name like it's a word she's practicing for a test. You're late. Traffic, I say. Because I'm not going to tell her that I sat in the car for 10 minutes trying not to throw up. Ethan pulls out my chair for me. I sit. My mother is across from me, separated by a white tablecloth and 13 years of silence. A young waiter approaches with 3 menus. And then my mother does what my mother does. She puts her hand on the waiter's arm, just lightly, like she's being gracious, and says, "Don't bother giving her a menu. She can't afford anything on it." The waiter freezes. I feel the air leave the room. "She'll just have water," my mother continues, her voice carrying to the tables around us. "And maybe a bread basket, if it's complimentary." Her smile is surgical, precise, designed to cut. She's done this before. In department stores when I was a teenager, she'd tell salespeople not to bother showing me anything because she doesn't have her own money. At family gatherings, she'd announce that I was between jobs even when I was working 60 hours a week. At my high school graduation, she told the parents next to her that I was lucky to be graduating at all. This is who she is. This is who she has always been. And yet some part of me still hoped. The waiter looks at me, then at my mother, then back at me. He's young, maybe 22, and he has no idea what to do. His hand hovers over the menus. I'll have a menu, I say quietly. Please, my mother laughs. It's a bright, brittle sound. Maya, don't be difficult. We all know you're struggling. Ethan shifts in his seat. I can feel him wanting to say something, wanting to defend me. But he's been trained not to. He's been trained to keep the peace, to make himself small, to let our mother's cruelty wash over us because fighting back only makes it worse. I know this. I lived this. But I'm not 16 anymore. I'm not struggling, I say. My voice is calm. I've practiced calm for 13 years, and I'd like a menu. My mother's smile hardens. She turns to the waiter. Bring her a menu, but put her drinks on my tab. I'm feeling generous tonight. The waiter nods, confused, and retreats. The tables around us are pretending not to listen. I know they're listening. I know because I would be listening too. Ethan tries to fill the silence. So, Mom, how was your week? And just like that, the performance continues. My mother talks for 20 minutes. She talks about her new apartment, which she describes as luxury, but I know is a one-bedroom in a building with mold problems because Ethan told me. She talks about her book club, her bridge group, her new gentleman friend, who she's been seeing for 3 months. She doesn't ask me a single question. I've learned to sit through this. I've learned to nod at the right moments, to say, that's nice when expected, to keep my hands visible on the table so she can't accuse me of being closed off. I've learned to survive my mother by becoming boring. The waiter returns with 3 menus. He places one in front of me with a small, apologetic smile. I smile back. It's not his fault. I open the menu. I already know what's inside. I helped design it. The font, the paper stock, the descriptions that make you hungry just reading them. But I pretend to study it anyway, because pretending is what I do best. My mother orders for herself. She doesn't ask what Ethan wants. She doesn't look at me. She tells the waiter to bring her the usual because she's practically family here. She's not practically family here. She's a regular, at best. But I don't correct her. The waiter takes our orders. Ethan gets the salmon. I get the Casio e pepe because it's Isabella's grandmother's recipe and it tastes like safety and disappears. You look tired, my mother says, finally looking at me. I'm fine. Are you still baking? I'm a chef, Mom. Same thing, she says it dismissively, like she's swatting away a fly. To my mother, a chef is a cook, is a servant. She wanted me to be a lawyer. She wanted me to be respectable. She wanted me to be someone she could brag about. Instead, she got me. Your cousin Jennifer just made partner at her firm, my mother continues. She's 31. Partner. You know what that means? It means she works 80 hours a week and has no life. My mother's eyes flash. It means she's successful. It means she made something of herself. I've made something of myself. Have you? The question hangs in the air. It's not a question. It's a challenge, an accusation, a dismissal of everything I've built, everything I've survived, everything I've become. I could tell her. I could pull out my phone and show her the James Beard nomination. I could describe the 3 restaurants with my name on the partnership papers. I could explain that I'm not struggling. I'm wealthier than she's ever been, than she'll ever be. But I don't, because telling her would mean I still care what she thinks. And I'm trying so hard not to care. I'm happy, I say instead. That's enough for me. My mother snorts. Happiness doesn't pay the bills. I manage, barely, from what I hear. And there it is, the implication. She's been talking about me. Telling people things that aren't true. I know this because she's always done this, rewriting my life into a tragedy where she's the long-suffering mother of a disappointing daughter. I look at Ethan. He won't meet my eyes. The food arrives. We eat in silence for a while. The Casio e pepe is perfect. Creamy, sharp, exactly how Isabella taught me to make it. I close my eyes for a moment when I take the first bite, letting the flavor settle something inside me. My mother notices. Are you praying? No, I'm appreciating pasta. That's very you. I don't respond. I've learned that responding gives her more ammunition. Silence is the only weapon that works, but my mother doesn't need me to respond. She can carry a conversation all by herself. Ethan tells me you're still single, she says. I'm focused on my career. At your age, I was married. And how did that work out? The words slip out before I can stop them. My mother's face tightens. Her marriage to my father ended when I was 14. A messy, bitter divorce that she's still not over 15 years later. She blames him. She blames me. She blames everyone but herself. That was uncalled for, she says. You brought it up. I was making conversation. You were criticizing my life choices. That's what mothers do. No, I say, and my voice is shaking now despite my best efforts. That's what you do. Mothers are supposed to support their children. Mothers are supposed to be proud. Mothers aren't supposed to tell waiters that their daughters can't afford dinner. My mother sets down her fork. Oh, don't be so dramatic. Don't be so cruel. The table goes quiet. Even the nearby tables, the ones pretending not to listen, seem to hold their breath. Ethan reaches for his water glass. His hand is trembling. Maya, he says quietly, maybe we should just. No, I'm not looking at him. I'm looking at my mother. No, I'm done just. My mother's smile returns, but it's different now. It's not warm. It's never been warm. This smile is the smile of someone who's been waiting for a fight, who's been baiting me all night, who's finally got what she wanted. Go ahead, she says. Tell me how terrible I am. Tell me how I ruined your life. Tell me how you're the victim and I'm the villain. I've heard it all before. You've never heard it from me because you've never had the courage to say it. I stand up. Ethan grabs my arm. Maya, please. But I'm not leaving. I'm not running. For the first time in 13 years, I'm not running. You want to know what you did? I say. My voice is quiet, but the restaurant has gone silent. Everyone is listening now. You kicked me out when I was 17 because I wanted to go to culinary school. You told me I was throwing my life away. You told me I would never be anyone. And then you told everyone who would listen that I abandoned you. My mother's smile falters. I slept on a church floor for 3 months, I continue. I worked 3 jobs. I didn't eat for 2 days sometimes because I couldn't afford food and rent both. And you knew. You knew and you didn't care. That was your choice. It wasn't a choice. It was survival. And I survived. I survived because I had no other option. Because you made sure I had no safety net, no backup plan, no home to come back to. My mother opens her mouth to respond, but before she can, a voice cuts through the silence from across the restaurant. Maya. I turn. Chef Isabella Rossi is walking toward our table. She's 52 years old, with silver-streaked dark hair pulled back in a low ponytail, and the kind of face that's been weathered by decades in hot kitchens. She's wearing her chef's whites. She's holding a bottle of wine in one hand, not just any wine. I can see from here that it's a 2010 Barolo from the private collection, the kind that isn't on any menu. She's looking at me like she's just seen a ghost. I didn't tell her I was coming tonight. I didn't tell anyone. I wanted this to be private. I wanted to face my mother alone. But Isabella is here. And Isabella sees everything, Maya, she says again, closer now. Piccola, why didn't you tell me you were coming? My mother stares. Ethan stares. The entire restaurant stares. Isabella reaches our table and bends down to embrace me. A full, warm, Italian hug that smells like garlic and red wine and home. I sink into it for just a moment, letting myself be held, letting myself be seen. I didn't want to bother you, I say into her shoulder. Bother me, your family. She pulls back, holding me at arm's length, studying my face. You look tired, long week, long life. She turns to my mother, who is still sitting frozen in her chair. You must be Patricia. My mother nods, unsure. Isabella's smile doesn't reach her eyes. I've heard so much about you. I didn't catch your name. Isabella Rossi. I own this restaurant, she pauses. Well, I co-own it. With Maya, the word hangs in the air. Co-own, my mother's face goes through a series of expressions. Confusion, disbelief, calculation, and then something that looks almost like fear. I'm sorry, my mother says. Isabella turns to the young waiter, who has been hovering nearby, watching the scene unfold with wide eyes. Marco, do you know who this is? The waiter shakes his head. This is Maya Chen, Isabella says, loud enough for the entire restaurant to hear. She owns half of everything you see, this restaurant. The one in Seattle, the one in San Francisco. She's a James Beard nominee. She has a cookbook coming out next spring, and she's too humble to tell her own mother any of this. She turns back to my mother. You must be so proud. The silence is deafening. My mother's mouth opens, closes, opens again. Aya never. Didn't what? Isabella's voice is pleasant, but there's steel underneath. Didn't tell you. Maybe there's a reason for that. My mother looks at me, really looks at me, for the first time all night. I can see her recalculating, rewriting the story in her head, trying to find a way to make this her victory instead of her humiliation. You never said anything, she says, and her voice is accusatory now, like this is my fault. You never told me you were successful. When would I have told you? I ask. You haven't asked about my life in 13 years, I asked. You asked if I was still baking. You never asked if I was happy. You never asked if I was okay. You never asked if I needed anything. You assumed I was failing because that was easier than admitting you might have been wrong about me. My mother's jaw tightens. I was never wrong about you. You were wrong about everything. Isabella sets the bottle of Barolo on the table. This is for you, Piccola, from my private collection. Drink it with people who love you. She looks at my mother, her gaze is cold. It was nice to meet you, Patricia. She walks away. The restaurant slowly returns to its normal murmur, but the energy has shifted. People are looking at our table differently now. Looking at me differently. I sit back down. My mother doesn't speak. Ethan doesn't speak. I pour myself a glass of the Barolo and take a slow, deliberate sip. It's perfect. Of course it's perfect. Isabella doesn't do anything halfway. So, I say, setting down the glass, you wanted to have dinner. The Barolo is warm in my chest, but it doesn't settle the shaking in my hands. My mother hasn't touched her food. She's been staring at me for what feels like hours, though I know it's only been a minute or two. Her face is a battlefield. I can see her trying to decide which version of herself to be. The wounded mother, the proud mother, the victim, the villain. She settles on disbelief. You own this restaurant, she says, not a question. She's testing the words, seeing how they feel in her mouth. I co-own it. How? I worked. Don't be flippant with me, Maya. I take another sip of wine. You want the long version or the short version? The truth. The truth. I set down my glass. The truth is that when you kicked me out, I had $400 in savings and a backpack full of clothes. I slept on a church floor for 3 months until the pastor's wife took pity on me and let me stay in her guest room. I worked at a diner from 6 in the morning until 2 in the afternoon. Then I worked at a bakery from 3 until 11 at night. Then I went home and studied culinary textbooks because I couldn't afford classes. My mother's face is pale. I did that for 2 years, I continue. 2 years of 90-hour weeks. 2 years of blistered hands and no health insurance and ramen noodles for dinner. 2 years of telling myself that you were right, that I was nothing, that I would never be anything. Ethan reaches for my hand under the table. I let him take it. Then I met Isabella. She came into the bakery where I was working the night shift. She ordered a croissant. I'd been experimenting with the recipe, adding more butter, letting the dough proof longer, little changes that my boss told me were a waste of time. She took one bite and asked to speak to the baker. I can still remember that night, the way Isabella's eyes lit up, the way she grabbed my flour-dusted hands and said, "You have gift, Piccola, big gift." She offered me a job, a real job, in her kitchen. Minimum wage, but I would learn. She said I had talent, but talent wasn't enough. I needed technique, so I learned everything she taught me, and then I learned more. I stayed late, I came in early, I burned myself 100 times and cried in the walk-in cooler and kept going, because what else was I supposed to do? Go back to you? My mother flinches. I never went back to you, I say. Not because I didn't want to. God knows I wanted to. I wanted to call you every day for the first year. I wanted to tell you about the first time Isabella let me design a dessert for the menu. I wanted to show you the review in the newspaper that mentioned my name. I wanted you to be proud of me so badly that I couldn't breathe sometimes. Then why didn't you call? Because every time I picked up the phone, I heard your voice telling me I was a waste of space. And I knew that if I called and you said it again, I would believe it. I would crumble, and I couldn't afford to crumble. My mother looks away. 7 years ago, Isabella asked me to be her partner. She was opening a second restaurant, and she wanted me to run the pastry program. I didn't have any money to invest. I was still paying off debt from the years I spent barely surviving, but she didn't care about money. She cared about trust. She said I had earned my place. I pause. She was the first person in my life who ever made me feel like I belonged somewhere. Ethan's grip on my hand tightens. 3 restaurants later, here I am, sitting across from you at a table I helped design, drinking wine I helped select, in a building I helped renovate. And you didn't know any of this because you never asked. Because you were too busy telling people I was on welfare. My mother's head snaps up. I never. You did. Ethan's voice cuts through. Quiet, shaking, but firm. We both look at him. He's crying. Silent tears streaming down his face, his jaw clenched, his free hand gripping his water glass like it's the only thing keeping him grounded. I heard you, he says to our mother. At Aunt Linda's barbecue last summer, you told everyone Maya was in rehab. You said she'd hit rock bottom and you were so worried about her. You said you'd been sending her money for years. My mother's mouth opens. I didn't say anything, Ethan continues. I never say anything, because I'm a coward, because I've always been a coward, because you taught me that keeping the peace was more important than telling the truth. Maya was never in rehab, I say quietly. I've never even tried drugs. You know that. You know that because you're the one who drug tested me when I was 15, because you were convinced I was stealing your jewelry. That was different. How? How was it different? My mother doesn't answer. I lean back in my chair. The wine is making me bold, or maybe it's just exhaustion. 13 years of exhaustion, finally spilling out. You've been lying about me for over a decade, I say. You've told everyone I'm a failure, an addict, a disappointment. You've built an entire narrative where you're the long-suffering mother of a lost cause. And why? Because if I'm not a failure, then you were wrong. And you can't be wrong. You've never been able to be wrong. It's exactly what you did to Dad. It's what you did to Grandma. It's what you're doing to Ethan. Anyone who doesn't fit into your version of reality gets erased, rewritten, destroyed if necessary. My mother stands up, the chair scrapes against the floor. A few nearby tables turn to look. I'm not going to sit here and be attacked, she says. Sit down, Mom. No, I came here to have a nice dinner with my children, and instead I'm being accused. Sit down! My voice is not loud, but it cuts through her words like a knife through butter. She stops, she looks at me, and for the first time in my life, I see something in her eyes that I've never seen before. Uncertainty. She sits. I'm not done, I say. She doesn't respond. She just sits there, her hands folded on the table, her expensive manicure catching the light. She looks small. I've never seen her look small before. 13 years ago, you told me I would never be anyone, I say. You told me I was throwing my life away. You told me I would come crawling back to you, begging for money, begging for help, begging for you to be right. I reach into my purse. I never came crawling. But I kept something. To remind myself that I survived. I pull out a worn $100 bill, folded, creased, soft from years of being handled. It's the last cash my mother ever gave me, the money I had when she kicked me out. I've kept it in every wallet I've owned for 13 years. My mother stares at it. You gave me this when I left, I say. You said don't come back until you have something to show for yourself. I place the bill on the table in front of her. I'm returning it. We're even now. My mother doesn't move. I'm not your failure anymore, I say. I was never your failure. I was just a kid who wanted to be a chef, and you couldn't handle that. But I'm done waiting for you to be proud of me. I'm done hoping that one day you'll wake up and see me. Because you can't see me. You've never been able to see me, Maya. No. I stand up. I'm not asking for an apology. I'm not asking for closure. I'm not asking for anything. I'm just telling you that I'm done. This is the last dinner we're ever going to have. Ethan stands up too. He's still crying, but his shoulders are straight. I'm leaving with her, he says. My mother looks at him. Ethan, don't be ridiculous. I'm not being ridiculous. I'm being brave for once. It's about time. He walks around the table and stands next to me. We face our mother together. 2 children she raised, 2 children she hurt, 2 children who are finally done being hurt. Ethan, my mother's voice is sharp now. If you walk out that door with her, don't bother coming back. That's fine, he says. I've already been gone for years. I just didn't realize it. We walk out together. The restaurant is quiet around us. People watch. I don't care. I've spent my whole life caring what people think, and look where it got me. Sitting across from a woman who couldn't even pretend to love me for one dinner. The rain has stopped outside. The air is cold and clean, the kind of cold that wakes you up, that reminds you you're alive. Ethan leans against the building and starts sobbing. I don't know what to do. I've never known what to do with other people's tears. I've spent so long learning how not to cry that I've forgotten how to comfort someone who does. But he's my brother, and he chose me. I put my arms around him. I'm sorry, he gasps into my shoulder. I'm so sorry. I knew. I knew what she was saying about you. I knew she was lying. And I didn't say anything. I just let her. I let her because I was scared. I'm always scared. I know I'm a coward. You're not a coward. You're just… I pull back. Look at his face. You're just what she made you. Same as me. But we don't have to stay that way. He wipes his face with his sleeve. How do you do it? How do you just… keep going? I didn't just keep going. I fell apart. A lot. I fell apart so many times that I lost count. I smile, but it's sad. The difference is that I always got back up. Because the only thing worse than falling apart is staying on the ground. Ethan takes a shaky breath. She's going to tell everyone we abandoned her. I know. She's going to make herself the victim. I know. Aren't you angry? I think about it. I should be angry. I have every right to be angry. But standing here in the cold with my brother's tears drying on my jacket, all I feel is tired. I'm not angry, I say. I'm just done. We go back to Ethan's apartment. It's small, a 1-bedroom in a part of Portland that's still being gentrified, with thin walls and a landlord who doesn't answer maintenance requests. But it's clean. He's made it his own. There are plants on the windowsill and a framed photo of our grandmother on the bookshelf. I look at that photo for a long time. Grandma Chen. My father's mother. The only adult in my childhood who ever made me feel like I mattered. She died 4 years ago, and I still reach for the phone to call her sometimes. I still expect to hear her voice on the other end, telling me she's proud of me, telling me she always knew I would make it. She was the one who taught me to cook, not fancy things, simple things. Steamed fish with ginger and scallions, braised pork belly, egg drop soup from scratch. She'd stand beside me in her tiny kitchen and guide my hands, showing me how to feel when the oil was hot enough, how to listen for the sizzle. You have good hands, she told me once. Good hands for making things. She never got to see my restaurants. She never got to taste the desserts I've created. She died before I had anything to show her. But she knew. Somehow she knew. Sit down, Ethan says, pulling me back to the present. I'll make tea. I sit on his couch. It's lumpy and worn, but it's comfortable. He brings me a mug of oolong, the kind Grandma used to drink, and sits beside me. I should have told you, he says, about what she was saying, about the lies. Why didn't you? He stares into his tea. Because I thought if I told you, you'd cut her off completely. And then I'd be alone with her, and I couldn't handle her alone. I understand that. I understand it better than he knows. When you left, he continues, she got worse. Not right away. At first she pretended you didn't exist. She cleared out your room within a week, painted it beige, turned it into an office she never used. I close my eyes. But then she started talking about you. To anyone who would listen, she'd tell people you ran away, that you were on drugs, that you'd gotten pregnant and had an abortion and couldn't face her. Every time she told the story, it got worse, more dramatic, more tragic. And people believed her because why wouldn't they? She's so good at sounding wounded. She's always been good at that. The worst part was that I started believing it too. Not all of it. I knew you weren't on drugs. But I started to think, maybe you did abandon us. Maybe you were the problem. Maybe she was right about you. He sets down his mug. I'm so ashamed of that. Don't be, I say. She's been manipulating you your whole life. You didn't stand a chance. Neither did you. No, but I got out. You stayed. He looks at me. I didn't stay because I wanted to. I stayed because I didn't know how to leave. Now you know. He nods slowly. Now I know. My phone buzzes. It's Isabella. You okay, Piccola? I type back. No, but I will be. Come to the restaurant tomorrow. I'll make you breakfast. I'll be there. Bring your brother. Sounds like he needs a good meal. I look at Ethan. He's staring at the photo of Grandma, his face soft. My boss wants to make us breakfast tomorrow, I say. Your boss? My partner. The woman who owns the restaurant. The one who hugged you? Yeah, he's quiet for a moment. She seems nice. She's the best person I know, better than me. I smile. Different than you. You're my brother. That's a whole different category. He almost smiles back. Almost. Maya? Yeah? Do you think Grandma knew? About Mom? About how she was? I look at the photo. Grandma's eyes are warm in the picture, but there's something else there too. Something sad. Something knowing. I think Grandma knew exactly who Mom was, I say. I think that's why she protected us the way she did. I think that's why she left me that letter. Letter? I hesitate. I haven't told anyone about the letter, not even Ethan. It's been my secret, my burden, my proof that I wasn't crazy. But tonight I'm tired of secrets. Grandma gave me a letter before she died, I say. She told me not to open it until I was ready. She said it would explain everything. Ethan leans forward. What's in it? I don't know. I haven't opened it. 3 years and you haven't opened it. I wasn't ready. I'm still not sure I am. He looks at me with something like wonder. How do you have that much self-control? It's not self-control, it's fear. I pull the letter out of my purse. It's been in there for 3 years. Moving from bag to bag, always with me, never opened. The envelope is worn at the edges. Grandma's handwriting is on the front. For Maya, when you're ready. I'm afraid of what it says, as I admit. What if it makes everything worse? What if it confirms things I don't want to know? What if it helps? I turn the envelope over in my hands. I'll open it tomorrow, I say. After breakfast with Isabella. Why not now? Because tonight I just want to be your sister. I just want to sit on your lumpy couch and drink Grandma's tea and pretend that everything is going to be okay. Ethan reaches over and takes my hand. Everything is going to be okay, he says. I want to believe him. I sleep on Ethan's couch that night. His apartment only has one bed, and I can't sleep anyway. The couch is lumpy and too short and smells faintly of the Chinese takeout he had for dinner 3 days ago. But it's warm, and it's safe. And for the first time in 13 years, I'm not alone. I dream about Grandma. She's in her kitchen, the one from my childhood, with the yellowing cabinets and the cracked tile floor. She's making dumplings. Her hands are quick and sure, pleating the edges with practiced precision. You have good hands, she says in the dream. Good hands for making things. What should I make? I ask. Anything you want, that's the point. I wake up crying the next morning. Ethan drives me to Rossi's. The restaurant is closed for lunch service, but the kitchen is already humming. I can hear Isabella's voice before we even walk through the door. She's yelling at someone about the temperature of the walk-in cooler, mixing Italian and English in that way she does when she's stressed. I smile for the first time in 24 hours. We walk in through the back entrance, the one reserved for staff. Ethan looks around with wide eyes. The stainless steel counters, the hanging copper pots, the massive ovens that cost more than his car. He trails off. Yeah, I say, it's a lot. Isabella spots me from across the kitchen and immediately stops yelling at the line cook. She walks over, wiping her hands on her apron, and pulls me into another hug. You look terrible, she says. Thanks, you need food. Sit. She points to a small table in the corner of the kitchen, the one she keeps for family meals. I make you eggs, good eggs, the kind with too much butter. Sounds perfect. Ethan and I sit. Isabella works the stove with the efficiency of someone who's been doing this for 30 years. She cracks eggs into a pan, adds a generous pat of butter, throws in some fresh herbs from the planter by the window. "You're Ethan," she says without turning around. "Yes, ma'am. Don't call me ma'am. Call me Isabella. Or chef, or hey you, I don't care." She flips the eggs. "You look like your sister. Everyone says that. They're right. Same eyes. Same stubborn chin." She glances at me. "Same talent. He's a marketing coordinator," I say. "That's not a no." Isabella plates the eggs and brings them over. 2 plates, perfectly presented, with toast and a small side of fruit. "Eat." Ethan takes a bite. His eyes widen. "Oh my God," Isabella grins. "Good, this is the best egg I've ever had." "That's because you've only had bad eggs. Now you know better." She sits down across from us, stealing a piece of toast from my plate. "So tell me about last night." I look at Ethan. He looks at me. "It was bad," I say. "Worse than bad." I told her I was done. Isabella nods slowly. "Good, you don't think I should have tried harder, Maya." She reaches across the table and takes my hand. "I've watched you work yourself to exhaustion trying to earn love from people who don't know how to give it. You've tried hard enough. You've tried for 13 years. At some point, you have to stop trying and start living. That's what I'm trying to do." "No, that's what you're finally allowing yourself to do. There's a difference." Ethan sets down his fork. "She's been lying about Maya for years, telling everyone she's a failure, an addict. All of it lies." "I know." "You know?" Isabella looks at him. "I've known Maya for 10 years. I've watched her succeed and fail and get back up again. I've watched her cry in the walk-in cooler and come out smiling. I've watched her give and give and give to people who don't deserve it." She pauses. "I also have eyes. And a phone. And I know how to use the internet. You've seen what my mother's been saying. I've seen enough." Isabella's voice is quiet. "I didn't tell Maya because she wasn't ready to hear it. But I've been collecting evidence. Screenshots. Posts. Messages from people who reached out to me because they recognized her name." My stomach drops. "What?" Isabella pulls out her phone. "I was going to show you when you were ready. I think you're ready now." She hands me the phone. I scroll. There are dozens of screenshots, Facebook posts, Twitter threads, emails forwarded by concerned strangers. My mother has been running a campaign against me for over a decade, a carefully crafted narrative of failure, addiction, mental illness, and abandonment. In one post, she claims I stole her jewelry to pay for drugs. In another, she says I abandoned my own child, a child that never existed. In an email to a distant cousin, she writes, "Maya has been in and out of rehab for years. I've spent all my savings trying to help her. Please pray for our family. I feel sick." "She's been doing this the whole time," I whisper. "The whole time I was building my career. She was tearing me down to anyone who would listen." Ethan leans over to look. His face goes pale. "I didn't know about the child thing," he says. "That's new." "She's escalating," Isabella says. "The more successful you become, the more she needs to diminish you. Because if you're successful, then she was wrong, and she can't be wrong." I hand the phone back. My hands are shaking. "What do?" I ask. "That depends. What do you want?" I think about it. For years, I've wanted revenge. I've wanted to stand in front of my mother and everyone she's lied to and tell the truth. I've wanted to watch her face crumble as her lies collapsed around her. But sitting here, in this kitchen, with eggs cooling on my plate and my brother beside me, I don't want revenge anymore. I want freedom. I want her to stop, I say. I don't care if she believes in me. I don't care if she's proud. I just want her to stop telling lies about me. "That's not going to happen," Isabella says gently. "I know. So what do you want instead?" I take a deep breath. I want to tell the truth, not to hurt her, just to set the record straight. For myself, so I can stop carrying this secret. Isabella nods slowly. "That I can help with." She walks us to the front of the restaurant, where the morning light is streaming through the big windows overlooking the street. "There's a food blogger who's been asking to interview you for months," Isabella says. "She's reputable. She won't sensationalize. If you're ready to tell your story, she'll tell it right." I don't know if I'm ready. "You don't have to decide today." "But Maya," Isabella puts her hands on my shoulders. "You've been hiding for 13 years. Not because you had to, but because you were ashamed. Ashamed of where you came from. Ashamed of what your mother thought of you. Ashamed of surviving when she wanted you to fail. I don't deny it. You have nothing to be ashamed of. You built something beautiful out of nothing. You earned every single thing you have. And the people who matter, the people who love you, they already know the truth. What about the people who don't love me? Fuck them." I laugh. It's a surprise broken sound, but it's a laugh. "There she is," Isabella says. "There's my girl." Ethan and I walk back to his car. The rain has started again. A soft drizzle that mists the air and makes the city smell like wet concrete and possibility. "I'm proud of you," Ethan says. "You don't have to say that. I'm not saying it because I have to. I'm saying it because it's true." He unlocks the car, but neither of us gets in. We stand there in the rain, getting wet, not caring. "You went through hell and you came out the other side. You built something. You created a family. You didn't let her break you." She almost did, 100 times, but she didn't. No, I say, she didn't. We stand in the rain a little longer. I want to open the letter, I say finally. I want to open it today with you. Ethan nods. Okay, we get in the car. I pull out the envelope. Grandma's handwriting for Maya. When you're ready, I'm ready. I open it. My dearest Maya, if you're reading this, I'm gone. I'm sorry I couldn't tell you these things in person. I was afraid. Not of you, of what would happen to you if I told the truth while I was still alive. Your mother, Patricia, is not well. You know this. You've always known this. But you don't know why. When she was 16, she had a sister, your aunt. Her name was Margaret. She was brilliant, smarter than your mother, more talented, more loved. Your grandparents didn't play favorites, but Margaret was easier to love. She laughed more, she hugged more, she made people feel seen. Your mother couldn't handle it. When Margaret was 18, she got a scholarship to a prestigious university. Your mother was jealous, not of the scholarship, but of the attention, the praise, the way everyone talked about how Margaret was going to do great things. So your mother sabotaged her. She hid Margaret's acceptance letter. She told Margaret the scholarship had been rescinded. She convinced Margaret that she wasn't smart enough, wasn't good enough, wasn't worth enough, and Margaret believed her. Margaret never went to university. She stayed in our hometown. She worked dead-end jobs. She married a man who didn't love her. She died at 42 of a broken heart. Or that's what I believe, anyway. The doctors said it was cancer. I think it was despair. Your mother never told anyone what she did. But I knew. Mothers always know. I didn't confront her. I should have. That's my shame to carry. I was afraid of losing her, of losing both my daughters, so I said nothing. And Margaret paid the price. When you were born, I saw Margaret in you. The same light, the same talent, the same ability to make people feel seen. And I saw your mother watching you the same way she watched Margaret, with jealousy masquerading as concern. I couldn't let it happen again, so I protected you the best I could. I taught you to cook. I told you that you had good hands. I tried to build you up so that when she tried to tear you down, you would have something to hold on to. And now, reading this, you know the truth. Your mother doesn't hate you because you're a failure. She hates you because you're a reminder of the sister she destroyed. Every time she looks at you, she sees Margaret. And every time she sees Margaret, she sees what she's capable of. You cannot fix her. You cannot save her. You can only save yourself. So save yourself, Maya. Live the life Margaret never got to live. Be brilliant. Be talented. Be seen. And when you think of me, remember, I was proud of you from the first moment I held you. I will be proud of you until the last moment I exist. With all my love, Grandma. I finish reading. The letter shakes in my hands. Tears stream down my face. I can't see, can't breathe, can't think. Ethan takes the letter from me. He reads it silently. Then he starts crying too. We sit in the car in the rain and we cry together. We sit in the car for a long time. The rain doesn't stop. Neither do the tears. Ethan holds the letter like it's something sacred, his thumb tracing the edge of the paper, his breath coming in shaky gasps. Margaret, he says finally. We had an aunt named Margaret. I didn't know. Neither did I. No one ever talked about her. I wiped my face with my sleeve. That was the point. Mom erased her. Just like she tried to erase me. Ethan looks at me. His eyes are red, swollen, but there's something new in them. Something harder. She killed her. What? Not literally. But he holds up the letter. She destroyed her, took away her future, made her believe she was nothing. That's murder. That's slow, quiet murder. I've never thought of it that way. But he's right. My mother didn't just sabotage her sister. She extinguished her. She took a brilliant young woman and convinced her she was worthless. And Margaret believed it because why wouldn't she? Your sister, your own flesh and blood, telling you you're not good enough. That's the thing about my mother. She doesn't attack from the outside. She gets inside you. She finds the cracks and pours poison in. She did it to Margaret. She tried to do it to me. She almost succeeded. We need to tell someone, Ethan says. The family, they need to know. Do you think they'll believe us? He looks at the letter again. Grandma wrote it. Grandma was the only person in the family everyone trusted. If we show them this, some of them still won't believe it. Some of them will say we're lying. Some of them will say we're misinterpreting. Some of them will say we should keep the peace. Is that what you want? To keep the peace? I think about it. For 13 years I've kept the peace. I've stayed quiet. I've let my mother tell her lies because fighting back felt like too much work, too much pain, too much risk. But I'm not that person anymore. No, I say. I don't want to keep the peace. I want the truth. We drive to Aunt Linda's house. She's my mother's sister, the only one of Patricia's siblings who still speaks to the family. She's been neutral for years, staying out of the drama, refusing to take sides. I don't know if she'll believe us. I don't know if she'll help us, but she's the place to start. Aunt Linda lives in a ranch-style house in the suburbs, the kind with a porch swing and a garden full of roses. It's the kind of house that looks peaceful, calm, deliberate. The opposite of my mother's life. She opens the door before we knock. like she was expecting us. Maya, Ethan. She looks at our faces, at our swollen eyes, at the letter in Ethan's hand. Come in. Her living room is warm. There's a fire in the fireplace, even though it's not that cold outside. She makes us sit on the couch. She brings us tea. She waits. What happened? She asks. I tell her. Everything, the restaurant, the humiliation, Isabella, the letter, Margaret. When I say Margaret's name, Aunt Linda goes pale. Where did you hear that name? She asks. Grandma wrote it down. I hand her the letter. Read it. She reads, her hands shake. When she finishes, she sets the letter down on the coffee table and stares at the fire for a long time. I knew, she says finally, not the details, but I knew Patricia did something to Margaret. I knew Margaret didn't just give up. She wasn't the type. Why didn't anyone do anything? Because Patricia is very good at making people afraid of her, and because Aunt Linda's voice breaks. Because we were cowards, all of us. We saw what was happening, and we looked away. You're not looking away now. No, she looks at me. I'm not. She tells us things we didn't know. Margaret, it turns out, didn't die of cancer. She died of liver failure, cirrhosis from years of drinking. She drank because she was sad. She was sad because she believed she was worthless. She believed she was worthless because her sister told her so. Every day, for years. She came to me once, Aunt Linda says. A year before she died, she asked me if I thought she could have been someone. If she'd had a chance. What did you say? I said yes. I said she could have been anything. And she looked at me like I was lying. Like she couldn't even imagine believing it. Aunt Linda wipes her eyes. I should have done more. I should have dragged her to therapy. I should have gotten her out of that town. I should have. She shakes her head. I should have been braver. You're being brave now. It's too late for Margaret. But it's not too late for you. She reaches across the coffee table and takes my hand. Your mother is going to keep lying about you. She's going to keep trying to destroy you. It's what she does. It's who she is. You can't change her. But you can stop letting her control the story. How? Tell it yourself. That's how I end up sitting across from Nina Okonkwo, food blogger and journalist. 3 days later in Isabella's private dining room, Nina is in her early 30s, sharp-eyed and soft-spoken, with the kind of presence that makes you want to tell her everything. She's been following my career for years. She was one of the first people to write about my dessert program in Seattle. She's fair, she's thorough, she won't sensationalize. But she won't sugarcoat either. Are you sure you want to do this? She asks, setting up her recorder. Once you say these things publicly, you can't unsay them. I know your mother could sue you for defamation. She can try. Everything I'm going to say is true. I have evidence. Letters, screenshots, witnesses. Nina nods. Okay, then let's start at the beginning. I take a deep breath. I was 17 when my mother kicked me out, I say. I had a backpack, $400, and a dream of becoming a chef. The recorder light is red. I don't look at it. I look at Nina. She's just a person. Just one person listening. It's easier that way. She told me I was a waste of space. She said I would never be anyone. She said I would come crawling back to her, begging for forgiveness. I tell her everything. The church floor, the 3 jobs, the 90-hour weeks, the blistered hands and empty stomach and nights I cried myself to sleep because I was so sure my mother was right. I tell her about Isabella, about the first time someone believed in me, about the restaurants and the awards and the cookbook. I tell her about the lies. The campaign my mother has been running for 13 years. The fake addiction. The fake rehab. The fake child I supposedly abandoned. I tell her about Margaret. When I finish, Nina's eyes are wet. She doesn't apologize. She doesn't offer sympathy. She just says, "Thank you for trusting me with this. When will it publish?" "Tomorrow morning, if you're sure." "I'm sure." The article goes live at 6 By 7 a.m., my phone has exploded. Hundreds of messages. Thousands. People I haven't spoken to in years. Cousins, old classmates, former co-workers. People I've never met. They're reaching out to say they believe me. To say they're sorry. To say they always knew my mother was lying. But not everyone's as kind. My mother's friends. The ones she's been cultivating for years. The ones who believe her version of reality. They're vicious. They call me a liar. A attention seeker, a ungrateful daughter who's trying to destroy her poor, long-suffering mother. One woman writes, "Your mother has been nothing but kind to me. I can't believe you would do this to her. Shame on you." Another, "Some children don't deserve their parents. You're proof of that." I read them all. Every single one. I tell myself I shouldn't. I tell myself the opinions of strangers don't matter. But they do. They matter because they're the same words my mother has been whispering in my ear my whole life. You're nothing. You're a waste of space. You'll never be anyone. I put down my phone. I go into the kitchen. I bake bread at first. Simple sourdough, the kind that requires patience and attention. The kind that forces you to slow down, to focus, to be present, then pastries. Croissants with their 87 layers of butter and dough. Danishes filled with seasonal fruit. Kouign-amann, that Breton classic that's mostly butter and sugar and joy. Then cakes. Layer cakes with complicated fillings and fussy frostings. Things that require precision. Things that require excellence. I bake until my arms ache and my back screams and my phone has died somewhere in the other room. I bake until I can't feel the words anymore. Isabella finds me at 11 p.m. You've been here all day, she says. It's not a question. I needed to work. No, you needed to hide. I don't argue. She's right. She looks at the counter, covered in pastries and breads and cakes. You made enough to feed an army. Maybe I'll start an army. Maybe you'll just feed the people who love you. She picks up a croissant, takes a bite. This is good. Really good. I used the new butter. Ah, that explains it. She finishes the croissant, brushes crumbs from her apron. Have you looked at your phone? No, you should. I can't, Maya. She puts her hands on my shoulders. Look at your phone. I find it in my bag, dead. I plug it in. Wait for it to power on. When the screen lights up, I see the notifications, hundreds of them. But mixed in with the hate, something else: support. Real, genuine support from people I've never met. People who read my story and saw themselves in it. People who have their own mothers, their own fathers, their own family members, who couldn't love them the way they needed. One message stands out. It's from a woman named Sarah. She writes, I don't know you, but I know your story. My mother did the same thing to me. For years I believed her. I thought I was worthless. I thought I would never be anyone. Then I got therapy, I got distance, I got a life. And I realized that her voice in my head wasn't mine, it was hers. And I could choose to stop listening. I hope you choose the same. I read the message 3 times, then I start to cry. A week passes. Then 2. My mother doesn't reach out. I don't expect her to. She's probably waiting for me to apologize, to come crawling back, just like she always said I would. I don't. Instead, I do something I've never done before. I go to therapy. Not the free counseling I used in my 20s, the kind with long waiting lists and overworked therapist who couldn't remember my name from week to week. Real therapy. Expensive therapy. The kind where you sit on a comfortable couch and talk to someone who actually listens. Dr. Miriam Klein is 62 years old, with gray hair and kind eyes, and the kind of calm that makes you want to tell her everything. Why now? She asks at our first session. Because I'm tired of being afraid. Afraid of what? Afraid that she's right. Afraid that I really am nothing. Afraid that no matter how successful I become, I'll always be the 17-year-old girl standing in the doorway with a garbage bag full of clothes. Dr. Klein nods. That's a lot of fear for one person to carry. I've been carrying it for 13 years. You don't have to carry it anymore. That's what therapy is, I learn. Not a magic cure. Not a quick fix. Just permission. Permission to put down the weight you've been holding for too long. The lawsuit comes 3 weeks after the article. My mother is suing me for defamation. I'm not surprised. Neither is my lawyer, a fierce woman named Deborah who specializes in family litigation and doesn't mince words. She doesn't have a case, Deborah says over the phone. Everything you said was true. You have evidence, witnesses. That letter from your grandmother is gold. She'll drag it out anyway. Probably. That's what people like her do. They use the legal system to punish people who refuse to be controlled. What do I do? You have options. You can settle. Pay her a small amount to make her go away. You can countersue. Make her pay for your legal fees. Or you can fight. Which do you recommend? I recommend you think about what you want, not what she deserves. What you want. What I want. I want my mother to stop. I want her to admit what she did. I want her to say out loud that she was wrong. But I know I'll never get that. She's not capable of it. She spent her whole life building walls to protect herself from that admission. She'll die inside those walls before she tears them down. So what do I want? I want to stop being afraid of her. Fight, I say. Let's fight. The legal battle takes 6 months. 6 months of depositions and motions and hearings. 6 months of my mother's lawyers trying to twist my words to make me look vengeful, bitter, unstable. But I have something they don't expect. I have Margaret. Aunt Linda found Margaret's old journals in the attic of their childhood home. Pages and pages of her writing, documenting years of cruelty from Patricia. The lies, the manipulation, the slow, methodical destruction of a brilliant young woman's spirit. The journals are admissible as evidence. When my mother's lawyer sees them, he goes pale. These are very damaging, he says during a private meeting. They're the truth, I say. The truth can be difficult. The truth is the truth. He tries to negotiate a settlement. My mother, through him, offers to drop the lawsuit if I sign a statement saying the article was exaggerated. I refuse. She offers again. This time she wants a public apology. I refuse. She offers a 3rd time. No apology. Just a statement that we've resolved our differences. I refuse. I want to go to trial, I tell Deborah. That's risky. I know, you could lose. I know. Do you understand what that means? If you lose, she could be awarded damages. You could lose money, reputation, everything you've built. I think about it. Really think about it. I'm not doing this to win, I say. I'm doing this so that for the rest of my life I can say I stood up to her. Even if I fall, even if I lose, I stood up. Deborah looks at me for a long moment. Okay, she says, let's go to trial. Hongler, the trial happens in Portland, in a courthouse that smells like lemon polish and old paper. My mother sits across the aisle, dressed in her best, flanked by her lawyers. She looks small, frail, even. It's an act. I know it's an act, but it's effective. The jury sees a little old lady being attacked by her ungrateful daughter. That's what the first day feels like. Attack, defense. Two versions of the same story colliding in a room full of strangers. My mother takes the stand on day 3. She's good, I'll give her that. She's very, very good. I did everything for that girl, she says, tears in her eyes. Everything, and this is how she repays me. By lying to the world about me. Is it true you kicked her out at 17? The lawyer asked. She left. I never kicked her out. Do you have any evidence of that? I have my memory. I'm her mother. I would never abandon my child. The jury nods. They want to believe her. She looks so sad, so betrayed, so wounded. Then it's my turn. I walk to the stand. I raise my right hand. I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. What happened when you were 17? Deborah asks. I tell them, not the polished version, not the version I've been telling myself for years to make it hurt less, the real version, the ugly version. The version where I begged my mother to believe in me and she laughed in my face. I tell them about the garbage bag, the $400, the church floor. Do you have any evidence that your mother kicked you out? Deborah asks. Yes, I pull out my old journal. The one I kept when I was 17, filled with cramped handwriting and tear-stained pages. I read aloud January 12th. Mom told me to leave today. She said I had until the end of the week to get out. She said if I was going to throw my life away, I could do it somewhere else. January 15th. I'm leaving tomorrow. Mom hasn't spoken to me in 3 days. She won't look at me. She won't even say goodbye. January 16th. I'm gone. She stood in the doorway and watched me walk to the bus stop. She didn't wave. She didn't cry. She just closed the door. My mother's face across the room is stone. But the jury is looking at her differently now. Deborah calls witness after witness. Isabella testifies about the night at the restaurant. About my mother telling the waiter I couldn't afford dinner. About the look on Patricia's face when she learned I owned half of everything. Ethan testifies about the lies. The years of lies. The campaign of cruelty his mother waged against her own daughter. Aunt Linda testifies about Margaret, about the journals, about the sister Patricia destroyed long before she tried to destroy me. And then Deborah calls an expert witness, a psychologist who specializes in family estrangement. Based on the evidence you've reviewed, Deborah asks, what is your professional opinion of Patricia Chen's behavior? The psychologist is calm, deliberate, clinical. Mrs. Chen exhibits patterns consistent with narcissistic personality disorder. Specifically, she demonstrates an inability to tolerate perceived slights to her self-image, a pattern of manipulating others to maintain control, and a tendency to devalue individuals who threaten her sense of superiority. Does that include her daughter? It appears to include anyone who challenges her narrative. So when Maya Chen became successful, when she proved her mother wrong, that would have been a threat. Absolutely. A significant threat. And the response, the lies, the campaign of public humiliation, is consistent with how narcissistic individuals often respond to such threats. The courtroom is silent. My mother's lawyer objects. The judge overrules. I look at my mother. She's not crying anymore. She's not sad. She's angry. Furious. Her hands are shaking. Her jaw is clenched. Her eyes are fixed on me with an intensity that makes my skin crawl. She's not sorry. She's never been sorry. She's just been caught. The jury deliberates for 6 hours. I wait in a small room with Ethan, Isabella, and Deborah. We don't talk much. There's nothing left to say. I've told my story. I've told the truth. Whatever happens next is out of my hands. What are you thinking about? Ethan asks. I'm thinking about Grandma. What about her? I'm thinking about what she wrote in the letter. You cannot fix her. You cannot save her. You can only save yourself. And did you? Save yourself? I think about it. About the girl I was at 17. Scared, alone, convinced she was worthless. About the woman I've become. Tired, yes. But not broken. Not anymore. Yeah, I say, I think I did. The jury returns at 4 p.m. The foreman stands. He holds a piece of paper. His face is unreadable. On the charge of defamation, he reads, we find the defendant, Maya Chen, not responsible. My mother's lawyer jumps to his feet. Your Honor, we'd like to. On the counterclaim of intentional infliction of emotional distress, the foreman continues, we find the plaintiff, Patricia Chen, responsible. We award the defendant damages in the amount of $1. $1. Not a fortune, not a punishment that will change her life, just $1. A symbol. You hurt her, and we know my mother screams. It's not a word. It's just a sound, a raw animal noise of pure rage. She lunges toward me. Her lawyers grab her arms. The bailiff moves between us. I don't flinch, I just look at her. And for the first time in my life, I feel nothing. Outside the courthouse, the rain has stopped. The sun is setting over Portland, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. It's beautiful. I've never noticed how beautiful this city can be. Ethan hugs me, then Isabella, then Deborah. $1, I say. $1, Deborah agrees. Sometimes the smallest amount sends the biggest message. Did we win? I think you did. I'm not sure about the rest of us. I look back at the courthouse. My mother is still inside, probably being escorted out a different entrance, probably already spinning this into a story where she's the victim. She'll never stop. She'll never change. But that's not my problem anymore. What now? Ethan asks. I'm going to open a restaurant, I say. A new one. Here in Portland. Really, really. I want to build something in this city. Something beautiful. Something that belongs to me. I look at Isabella. She's smiling. Piccola, she says. You already have 3 restaurants. Now I'll have 4, she laughs. When do we start? Tomorrow. 6 months later, I stand in front of my 4th restaurant. It's called Margaret's. The sign is simple, white letters on a dark background, clean and elegant. Underneath, in smaller type, for the aunt I never knew, for the dreams she never got to live. The opening is tonight. The dining room is full. Family, friends, strangers who've become friends. Ethan is at the bar, laughing with Isabella. Aunt Linda is crying into her wine, happy tears, she says. My staff is buzzing, nervous, excited. I'm in the kitchen, not because I have to be, not because I'm hiding, because this is where I belong. This is where I've always belonged. A young line cook approaches me. She's 19, scared, wearing a chef's coat with her name embroidered on the pocket. I hired her last month. She showed up at my door with a backpack and a dream, looking for a chance. You ready? I ask. She nods. I think so. Are you nervous? Yes, good. Nerves mean you care. I put my hand on her shoulder. You're going to mess up. A lot. But you're going to get back up every single time. Because that's what we do in this kitchen. She smiles. It's shaky, uncertain, but real. Welcome to the family, I say. The dinner service is perfect, not flawless. Perfection and flawlessness aren't the same thing. There are mistakes. A plate goes out cold. A dessert collapses. A waiter drops a glass. But we fix it. We adapt. We keep going. That's what I've learned after all these years. It's not about being perfect. It's about being present. It's about showing up every day and doing the work. It's about building something, even when the person who should have loved you is trying to tear you down. At the end of the night, when the last guest has left and the staff has gone home, I sit alone at the bar. Isabella joins me. She pours us both a glass of Barolo, the same vintage she brought to my mother's table all those months ago. To Margaret, she says. To Margaret. We drink. I'm proud of you, Isabella says. I know. Do you know why? Not because of the restaurants, not because of the awards. Because you survived. Because you're still here. Because you didn't let her turn you into someone who gives up. I look at the dining room, empty now, but not silent. I can still hear the echoes of laughter, of conversation, of life. I almost did, I say. A few times, I almost gave up. But you didn't. No, I didn't. Isabella squeezes my hand. That's the difference between you and her, she says. You keep going. She just keeps destroying. My phone buzzes, unreal number. I almost ignore it. But something makes me answer. Hello, Maya. It's my mother. I'd know her voice anywhere. Don't hang up. I don't say anything. I've been thinking, she says. About everything. About what happened, have you? I know you think I'm a monster. I know that's what you've been telling everyone. But I'm not. I'm your mother. And I love you. The word feels wrong in her mouth, hollow, like she's saying it because she thinks she should, not because she means it. Do you? I ask. Of course I do. Then why did you tell everyone I was an addict? A pause. I was scared. I didn't know how to explain. Why did you tell everyone I abandoned a child? I never said that. You did. I have screenshots. Another pause. Longer this time. I don't want to fight anymore, she says. I want to move forward. I want us to be a family. We're not a family. We haven't been a family in 13 years. That's not fair. What's not fair is you spending a decade trying to destroy my reputation because you couldn't stand to see me succeed. I never. You did, and you know you did. And I'm not going to pretend otherwise just because you've decided you're tired of fighting. She's quiet for a long time. What do you want from me? She asks finally. I think about it. What do I want? An apology I'll never get? A confession she'll never give? A mother who loves me the way I needed to be loved? I want you to leave me alone, I say. I want you to stop telling lies about me. I want you to stop trying to control my life. I want you to accept that I'm never going to be the daughter you wanted. And I'm never going to apologize for that. You're being cruel. I learned from the best. I hang up, my hands are shaking. But my heart is steady. I block her number. Then I block her on social media, on email, on every platform where she's tried to reach me over the years. It's a small thing, a simple thing. But it feels like the biggest thing I've ever done. Isabella watches me. She doesn't say anything. She doesn't need to. Ready to go home? She asks. Yeah, I say. I'm ready. 1 year later, I'm back in Portland for the anniversary of Margaret's. The restaurant is thriving. Full every night, reservations booked weeks in advance. The critics love it, the customers love it. But more importantly, the staff loves it. It's become a home for people like me, people who needed a chance, who needed someone to believe in them. Ethan is managing the front of house now. He quit his marketing job 6 months ago. Couldn't stand it anymore. He's good at this. Better than he ever was at marketing. He smiles more, laughs more, lives more. He's dating one of the servers, a woman named Priya, who makes him blush and brings him coffee every morning. I pretend not to notice. He pretends I don't know. It's nice watching him be happy. Aunt Linda comes in every Sunday for brunch. She sits at the same table, orders the same thing, drinks the same tea. Sometimes she brings friends, sometimes she comes alone. Either way, she always stops by the kitchen to say hello before she leaves. "You did good, kid," she told me once. "You did real good. I think about Margaret sometimes. What she would have thought of this place. A restaurant named after her, filled with people who love each other, serving food made by people who refuse to give up. I hope she would have been proud. I hope she would have felt seen." The food blogger Nina writes a follow-up article. It's about the anniversary, about the restaurant, about the year that's passed since the trial. She interviews me again, asks the same questions, mostly. But one question is different. Do you forgive her? I think about it. Forgiveness, such a small word for such a heavy thing. I don't know, I say. I don't think forgiveness is something you decide. I think it's something that happens to you over time if you're lucky, and I'm not there yet. Do you want to be? I want to be free. And if forgiveness is part of that, then yes. But I'm not going to force it. I'm not going to pretend to feel something I don't. Nina nods. That's fair. But I'll tell you what I've learned. You don't have to forgive someone to stop letting them hurt you. You don't have to understand them to move on. Sometimes moving on just means moving. Putting one foot in front of the other. Building something new. Is that what you've done? Yeah, I say. I think so. The article comes out. People share it, comment on it. Some are kind, some are cruel. I don't read the comments anymore. I've learned my mother doesn't respond. I don't know if she's read it. I don't know if she's still telling lies about me. I don't care. She's not my problem anymore. Tonight, I'm in the kitchen. It's late. The restaurant is closed. The staff has gone home. I'm alone, except for the dough. I'm making bread. The same sourdough I've made 1,000 times. The same recipe I developed in a tiny apartment in Seattle when I was still figuring out who I was. It's good bread. Simple. Honest. Made with patience and attention and love. That's what I've become, I think. Not perfect. Not flawless. Just good. Simple, honest, made with patience, made with love. My phone buzzes. It's a message from Ethan. "Hey, just wanted to say I love you and I'm proud of you and I'm glad you're my sister." I smile. "I love you too and I'm proud of you too and I'm glad you're my brother." He sends back a single emoji, a heart. I put down my phone. I go back to my dough. Outside, the rain has started again. Soft, steady. The kind of rain that makes you want to stay inside, to be warm, to be safe. I am warm, I am safe. For the first time in my life, I am home. My mother told a waiter I couldn't afford dinner. She was right about one thing. I couldn't afford the person I was becoming while I was still trying to earn her love. The moment I stopped, that's when I finally became rich. If this reached you today, share it with someone who's been told they're still in the falling when they're already up. Drop a comment. Hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.